Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Debt Life with me, Chad Van Horn. Today's topic is one that's near and dear to my heart, Oktoberfest. Cheers to bankruptcy wins. Before we get into the bankruptcy wins for Van Horn Law Group, I wanted to bring up a couple of things. First off, the majority of Oktoberfest is actually in September. So if you're going to Germany to celebrate Oktoberfest, you want to get there middle of September. The reason for this is historically it was in October, but they made the festival longer and they moved it into September because in Germany the weather's much better in September than it is October. So another thing you want to check out if you're going to Germany, there's something called Stark Bierzeit, which is Strong Beer Week. That's in February. For the hardcore drinkers out there, you're looking at 15% beer. So just be careful because they give it to you in that liter format, and it is delicious. So just be careful if you're celebrating Oktoberfest. But cheers to a couple wins that we've had in the past couple weeks. The first one was a Chapter 7 client that came in. They met with many other attorneys that said you don't qualify for Chapter 7 because they had money in a savings account, a significant amount of money that was alleged to be over the normal exemptions in bankruptcy. They were actually saving that money for medical treatment that their child needed. We were able to file the Chapter 7, save that money for them, and the child got the treatment that they needed. They were very relieved to be able to become debt free, get that stress off their table, and take care of their kids. So later on, I'll talk about a review that they left as well. So that was a big win. Shout out to the Chapter 7 team for making that happen and fighting for that client. Another win, a Chapter 11 win. This was one again near and dear to my heart. We saved an Italian cheese company that they were going to go out of business. There was a partnership dispute. There were lawsuits filed, hundreds of thousands of dollars alleged. We're able to file a Chapter 11 and get that Chapter 11 case confirmed. Now we saved the cheese company. Still waiting for them to give me some cheese. I wanted to put my retainer and make it where instead of money, I got monthly cheese deliveries. I don't think the courts would have liked that, so we haven't done that. But maybe we'll work something out in the near future. So that's a Chapter 11 victory. Big state Social Security victory. So there's something out there called Social Security overpayment that people don't realize. I talked about it in another episode. Basically, if you receive more income than you're allowed while you're on Social Security, the Social Security doesn't just cut you off. They'll let you still get the Social Security payments. And then when they realize, they come and they give you a bill. That happened to our client. The bill was around $40,000. We appealed it. Shout out to the state team led by Steve Weinstein. And we actually ended up winning. The client ended up owing zero back to the Social Security Administration, which was a huge victory because this was the only debt that she had. So if we were unsuccessful with the appeal, then she would have ended up in bankruptcy, which when there's only one debt, in my opinion, it's best to at least try to avoid the bankruptcy by negotiating or going through the appeal process. So shout out to the State Department, everybody down there that worked on it. Great work. Two other big victories. One, we got Attorney of the Year for Community Legal Services of Mid-Florida. Yes, we have an office in Orlando. Yes, we've been working in the entire state for a while now, including taking pro bono clients. When our office goes to an area, we're all in. So shout out to all the Orlando people that are working there, Lewis Roberts, my team that's taken on these cases, especially in this virtual world that we're living in now. It's easy to get quality representation wherever you are. So even if you're in the middle of farmland, we can certainly help you out. So reach out to us. Also, Dade Legal Aid, we've done a lot of good work for them. So we're getting an award with Dade Legal Aid as well. Shout out to Laverne for organizing all of it because we have many requests that come in. So for her to keep everything organized, it's a big help to me, and of course the entire staff that works on these on these cases. The key to I think our legal aid and pro bono success is we treat them just like any other client. So any other paying client, there's not a special division they go through. They get 100% of the services, and we're happy to do that for our community. All right, let's jump into it. So we had those wins. Cheers to the wins. But why is this process so important? Why is eliminating debt so important? Well, first off, stress. This stress can affect you physically, can affect you mentally. You hear time and time again of people committing suicide over dealing with financial stress. Obviously, during the last crash back in 2008, the real estate crash and the bubble, unfortunately, there were many suicides that came from that. And there's other physical ailments that come from that. So even if you're not thinking about it on a daily basis, on a minute by minute basis, it wears on you. So just be very, very careful. Be cognizant of what this stress can do to you. And I'm one of those people that I always am thinking. So I know that if I had something out there like outstanding debt, I would just be waiting for that garnishment to come through, waiting for my bank account to be garnished, always looking over your shoulder, which is no way to live. And that's why the bankruptcy code exists. Obviously, bankruptcy isn't the only option. So we'll go through a couple of different options when you deal with that. But bankruptcy is one of the options. So first step that I'm recommend to everybody, whether you're in debt, out of debt, whatever it is, pull your credit report. Take a look at your credit report to see what's on there. Because you'll be surprised that there might be things on there that are reporting inaccurately, and you need to fix those. If you do have things that are reporting on there that are inaccurate, you have the right to challenge us, send them a letter, and within 45 days, it should fall off. And if it doesn't, then you can actually sue to get those off your credit report. Again, that's just for inaccurate data. So if you have accurate information, it takes 7 years to fall off. So if you have defaulted on credit cards, mortgages, or whatnot, that'll be on your credit report for 7 years. You can still rebuild your credit as long as you get it fixed, but it'll be on your credit report for 7 years. So let's talk about addressing the different kinds of debt. So if you have credit card debt, you fall behind, how do you address it? Well, the first thing is you have to do an analysis of, do you have enough income to try to negotiate and settle with these creditors? My role is, if your defaulted debt exceeds your annual income, meaning if you make $40,000 a year, you have $50,000 worth of debt settlement, debt negotiation is not going to work. The numbers just won't work because you obviously have to spend some of that money on living expenses, rental, all of that. Obviously, if you live in South Florida, you're spending a lot of money on rent, unfortunately. So you got to put a realistic budget together of what you can dedicate towards your creditors. You can negotiate them down. If you have a lump sum available, that's when you're going to get the best deals. If you don't, the longer the payment plan, the worse the deal that you're going to get. For example, if you had one creditor for $40,000, you may be able to settle it for 50 cents on the dollar if you have a lump sum and if it's been in default for a while, and if you're really uncollectible otherwise. If you need a 5-year payment plan, they're going to want the full amount. So, or a 4-year payment plan or whatever it might be. So that's one of the options. I recommend debt negotiation when there's a limited number of creditors. So 1, 2, 3 creditors, and you have the disposable income or the lump sum available to settle. If not, then what else can we do? Second option, you can consolidate the debt. And I'm not talking about debt consolidation, credit consolidation. I mean, take a loan from a third party and then pay off that installment loan at a lower interest rate. So this works, generally speaking, when you're current or just falling behind and the interest rates are really high. So those credit card interest rates, they could be 25, 29%. So if you can get a loan that's 10%, 8%, that can save you a ton of money in interest. Always look at your statement to see, first off, what's the interest rate? Second, how much of your payment is going towards interest versus principal? Because those interest payments, I mean, you're just burning money basically. So the quicker you get rid of that debt, the better off you're going to end up being. So always look at your statements. I know people don't like to look at your debt, but you got to understand what's going on. I recently met with a friend that thought he was in a 0% interest payment. And I said, well, let's pull up the statement and see where we are. Well, the 0% ended already, and we're back up to 24%. So we need to get that paid off as soon as possible. Also, be very careful with those 0% promo rates that they get. The interest is still accruing during the promotional period. So, buy the mattress today, pay it over 4 years. If you don't pay it over that 4 years, you're going to pay for it twice because all that interest is going to hit in month 49. So whatever it is, get those paid off. I always recommend, if you had a 36-month no interest, plan on getting it paid off in 30 months because life happens. So you don't want to put it to the edge and you don't have that payment to pay it off. And then you get hit with $1,000 worth of interest charges for the 36 months that you've been there. So These are simple fixes too that will just save you a ton of money because you don't realize how interest just evades your budget until you look at it. And again, you're just burning money whenever you're paying interest. So it's better to try to make interest than obviously pay it. Um, when's the I get this question all the time. When's the best time to reach out to a professional? Honestly, when you start thinking about this, that's the time. Because the more information that you can get, especially from experts, the better. So reach out to your accountant, reach out to me, reach out to friends that actually know what the heck they're talking about. It's nice sometimes to talk to the guy at the bar, but that guy might not be an expert on what you need to talk about. Also, the good thing is when you talk to an attorney, you have that attorney-client privilege. So anything that we discuss is going to stay between us. Certainly, a no judgment zone. I've met with so many people, anywhere from homeless people to multimillionaires that were broke based on the budgets that they're putting together. So, whatever your status is, I'm certainly meet with you. I'll give you my advice. If you don't like my advice, that's fine too. Find somebody that you'd like to work with. But we're certainly here 7 days a week to help you through all of that. So another thing that I'm putting together for my clients and for the friends that I'm coaching them through with their credit and debt, it's important to celebrate goals and set those goals and then reward yourself for celebrating. So if you're a sneakerhead, a shoe fanatic, or whatnot, and I tell you, hey, stop buying those shoes until we hit these goals, and then buy that pair of shoes that you've been waiting for. If you're a person that likes to travel, same thing. All right, we're going to buckle down for the 6 months. We're not going to travel, and then once we get these credit cards paid off, then we're going to do a nice trip. Now, obviously, don't splurge to run those credit cards back up. Hopefully, we can save, get back on a cash basis where you're using the credit card, paying it off every month, and that's the best place to be because then you're using the credit card, your credit score is better, and you're getting points if you have the right credit cards. So there's no downside to it. I recommend having 3 credit cards and then utilizing them for different things. I have a Southwest credit card because I fly Southwest most. They fly to Pittsburgh. They fly to the places that I fly to most. So I'm able to get free upgrades in seating position and free flights and different things like that. So make sure that you're utilizing the credit cards that are best for you. Uh, Actually, creditcard.com is great for sorting through things like that. I reference that regularly when recommending credit cards to people. Oh, I forgot to say at the beginning, of course, if you have any questions, so you certainly can type them up. They will come up automatically with this new comment assistant feature by BeLive. Uh, and we'll see if that actually works. Okay. Um, let's go back down to improving your credit score. Again, the best way to improve your credit score if you're in default is by taking care of the debt. So the sooner you get it resolved, whether it be a resolution by settling or filing bankruptcy, the sooner your credit will start to rebuild. Your credit cannot rebuild if every month it is getting pinged by a late payment, a default, a late mortgage payment, a late car payment. So the sooner that you take care of it, the sooner your credit's going to come back. Um, People try to avoid bankruptcy because of their credit. It's in my experience, 12 to 18 months after the bankruptcy filing, I'm seeing my clients back in the 700 credit score. 24 months is the average where they can qualify for a mortgage. So it's really not that bad. The worst thing for your credit is to allow it just to every month be delinquent. So if you put a plan together where you're going to settle the debt, settle it as soon as you can. If you can't settle the debt, file the bankruptcy and be done with it and move forward. Again, this is a business decision. Um, Too many people make it an emotional decision, but it's a business decision that's best for you, your future, your family, and the people around you. So let's talk about some other things that we're dealing with. Obviously, student loans are coming up again. The payments are coming back in February. I noticed that you don't have to actually recertify on your new income. They will use your previous payment for 12 months. So utilize that to your advantage. If your income was lower on the income-based repayment before, keep that. If not, if your income's lower now, then recertify with your current income. So that's a simple fix that can save you some money there as well. Of course, we can help you with the recertifications, figuring out what's best, whether it's income-based, pay as you earn, revised pay as you earn, help you see if you qualify for loan forgiveness. Different programs are coming out for that. So just make sure that you're pay attention to what's going on. Obviously, there's some big bills that are in Congress. Usually when those bills come through, sometimes they'll address the smaller parts, student loans, bankruptcy, and whatnot. Obviously, if something comes out that I think will be useful to you, I'll bring it up on one of my episodes here. Again, we certainly can help you negotiate with creditors as well, as I discussed before. If you need any help with that, I recommend if there's a lawsuit involved, you want to get us involved. If the debt's above 2,500, 5,000, you probably want to get us involved as well for two reasons. One, we have experience dealing with the creditors. We know the best deal that we can get for you. And two, we can make sure that it's documented correctly. And once it's settled, it won't come back. Because the worst thing that can happen, you get the debt settled, you pay it. 3 years from now, they're collecting from you again. Of course, you didn't keep the documents. You thought it was settled. And then you get a lawsuit. And I see it happen all the time. Unfortunately, some of these companies are billion-dollar debt-buying companies, and the paperwork gets mixed up. You get a lawsuit, and it's hard for you to prove that it was settled because you don't have any of the paperwork at that point. So if you are going to settle something on your behalf, obviously make sure it's in writing. Make sure you keep proof of that. Oh, we got our first question. I'm looking to file bankruptcy, but my spouse is against it. How should I bring this up to them? Well, I believe that honesty is the best policy. So you got to have a sit down with them. Sometimes they say that it's best to have an awkward conversation while you're driving, because then it's less awkward because you're focused on the road. So you can certainly try to bring that up while driving. Maybe bring it up over a glass of wine. Obviously, if they don't know about your financial state, then you got to bring that up, especially with bankruptcy, because we're going to need some information. Another question: if I negotiate a debt and then I'm not able to make payments, what are my options? Well, you can actually renegotiate at that point, or you could look at filing bankruptcy. It's always I recommend against renegotiating. Obviously, life happens, but the first time you negotiate is your best time to make a deal, because if you've already defaulted once, and then if you make another deal and default again, it's unlikely that they're going to deal with you again, because you fell through twice. So just be careful with that. Be realistic with yourself. Don't just settle for the sake of settling to think it's going to go away. Make sure it's an actual settlement that you can afford. Let's go through our other options. Filing bankruptcy, obviously, Chapter 7 is the liquidation. Generally speaking, you're debt free in about 3 months. Chapter 13 is a repayment plan where you repay a portion of the debt over a 36 to 60 month period based on a budget. Chapter 13 is usually in play whenever there's assets involved, or if you're above the income limitations for that. We also are handling, unfortunately, a lot of foreclosures, a lot of evictions. An article just came out with evictions that bankruptcy can assist. It can buy you some more time. Obviously, if you're a bankruptcy candidate anyway, it might make sense. But again, communicate with your bank, communicate with your landlord so that you don't get thrown out on the street. I'm very nervous about what's going on, because I know that the court is very busy with evictions right now. So another big thing that's going on right now: corporate dissolutions. So we're helping companies wind down their affairs, whether it be helping them liquidate their assets for the benefit of the creditors, or just filing all the documents and sending notice out to the creditors. So make sure, if you are closing a business and you do have creditors, make sure that you provide notice and you do things properly. If not, they potentially come after you individually. Obviously, everything that we talk about today, I could advise you on. We have a team of attorneys here that can work with you. We're doing consultations 7 days a week. So whenever you're available, we're doing them early as 8 a.m. We're doing them in the evening, and we close at 7. If you have emergencies, we've filed cases on Sundays before to save a family home. So we're here for you. I know that we tend to sometimes hold off on getting the advice or filing the bankruptcy until the last minute. Obviously, the earlier you get in to talk to me or talk to one of our attorneys here, whether it be John, Lewis, Terry, April, Steve, we're here to help you out. So the sooner you can get into us, the more options that we're going to have. A couple other advantages to working with us: we do in person, we do virtual meetings. We have offices throughout the state now. We have dedicated teams throughout the process to walk you through it. So you're never by yourself. You're never alone. And and obviously, if you like working with me, I mean, you'll have access to my email, my cell phone. You can message me, whatever you need. I'm here for you. Um, as we discussed, we do much more than bankruptcy here. So whether it be debt negotiation, foreclosure defense, dealing with the Social Security Administration, dealing with taxes, whatever your issue is, we're going to make sure we find a solution for you. And if it's something we don't directly do, we have referrals. So if you have a personal injury case, if you have a criminal case, if you have anything like that, give us a call. We'll make sure that we find the right professional for you. So, and if there are any other questions, please let me know. I'm going to do a special episode on in 10 days. As you may know, sports gambling is coming to Florida. So October 15th, we're going to do a gambling special. I'm going to have a special guest on that day as well. So look out for that. And then I just want to close out with at the beginning I talked about the successful chapter 7. We got a great review on that chapter 7 case. Since we got Alex's uh, diagnosis facing the pandemic, we had to close our business and declare bankruptcy and much more. It has been a really tough year, but thanks to your efforts, dedication, experience, and trust in us, we were able to do the needed treatment for my son and become debt free. So obviously, this is why we do what we do. This is why I got into this field. This is why I have such a caring team here to take care of it. So again, cheers to that bankruptcy win. That is a life-changing event for this family. I hope wish Alex a speedy recovery. If you ever need to get in touch with us, you can call me at the office, 954-637-0000. I think that was one too many zeros, 4 zeros there. Or go to vanhornlawgroup.com. Also, check us out on Instagram, Facebook. There's a lot of cool things. Most of them are pictures of Chuckles. So go there right now, like it, share it. We have a couple books, The Debt Life, which tells the stories, and we have Bankruptcy in Florida, which breaks down the process. So thanks again for joining me in this episode of The Debt Life. I hope the topics were helpful, and I'll see you in a couple weeks. Thanks, guys.